All right, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the G5 Tech Demo Series, where we give you an inside look at G5 products, both with the technology and features behind them, and we really get into a deep dive of what makes these products tick, what's unique about them, and key things that you should remember too. So my name is Chris Hansen, and I also have Bill Anderson here with me. I'm on the product marketing team at G5, and Bill is a senior solutions engineer. And we're going to walk you through today G5 Smart Digital Advertising Platform. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bill, and we're going to dive into G5 Smart Digital Advertising.
Great, thanks, Chris. Today we're going to talk about some great new technology. G5 has really been investing in digital advertising over the past several years. We've been doing digital advertising for many years, and so we have a really good base of knowledge that we're pulling from. And we're able to do a lot of things even before this technology, where we're definitely kind of top in the industry for being able to be efficient with your marketing spend. And that's really the key to what we do. When you give us $1 to spend, we want to make sure it really gives the most impact to your business. So we're going to go through some of the new ways that we're really doing that today. So people before, if you go back, 20, 30 years, you're talking people just open a phone book and then they pick somebody out of that, and that's kind of the buyer's journey. That's really changed. I think everybody knows this now, where they're going online, they're searching on Google, they're checking things on Yelp, they get ask their friends what their recommendations are on Facebook. There's a lot of different ways people can arrive at your front door or even just to your website to investigate you. So you really want to be in all those different areas and all the time at the right time when people are really considering getting storage, and having all those little pieces together and knowing when those are, for any one person, is hard to do. That's why we've really invested in technology to assist us in that process. So the G5 digital advertising is really a complete system of things going on. We have a lot of technology for sure, but we also have a lot of people with a lot of skills and a lot of history in self-storage advertising that really all comes together to give you this kind of smarter advertising. So we're showing a few of the things we're going to talk about today up in our little honeycomb here, and we'll talk about that. But at the end, we really want to tell you that we're really kind of predicting where people will be, and that can really turn on your, really upend the efficiencies that we're doing in your marketing. So we're going to look at things kind of different timelines. So every month we look at budgets, we look at the strategies we're doing. That goes on in a monthly cadence. At a daily cadence, we have some technologies that's going to look at all of your channels and strategies that are going on and re-optimize those on a daily basis. And there's kind of a real-time basis as well. Right when somebody searches or they're viewing a website, should we display an ad there? Should we not? And a lot of those finite things at a real-time basis we're going to talk about as well. But we're going to start up at the top of the monthly basis. So how much should you spend every month? That's a good question. That's sometimes hard to answer. Sometimes people just have, well, I budgeted $1,000, so we're going to spend $1,000. But obviously that's not really the right way to go about it. So with all things G5, we're going to use data to help guide us down those decisions. So this is the new Budget Optimizer tool. When you get into the Budget Optimizer tool, it's going to show your different locations. We're going to look at each location. We're going to get a lot of information about that area. A lot of that comes from G5's historical archives. We go back 15 years, so we can see how that performance has changed over time. We pull in a lot of data from the Census Bureau, really finding out populations, age demographics, socioeconomic status for that area. A lot of those things, we use third-party sources for current ad bidding, so we know what other people are doing as well as G5 customers, and we kind of distill that and come up with this chart here for each of your locations. Now we show you a good, better, and best budget spend, and that's really, again, we're talking about efficiency. So if you map out these efficiencies, it kind of looks like an S-curve. If you spend just a few dollars, really, you're not going to get any efficiency there. Once there's an inflection point, which is kind of the good budget, where it really starts to tick up, where your cost per conversion kind of goes down. And then there's also a high point, though. I mean, if you spend thousands and thousands of dollars in a location, there's only so many eyeballs. So your cost of your cost or your efficiency is going to kind of fall off after you hit some point, and that gets up with the best area. So we show that along with an average market spend. So we kind of know what other people in your market are spending. So you can kind of really gauge, how you are playing in that competitive ecosystem. Really important to kind of set those budgets right. So once we have these numbers, then we can layer in all the information you have about your property. I mean, is it a lease up? Is it, highly occupied? Or you have some trending exposures coming up that we need to know about? All those things can be then taken into account to really pick the right budget with your digital strategist. Now, once we have a budget, then we go turn to our experts here to really find out what strategies are going to be best for your properties. Now, again, if you're, maybe a highly occupied property, you don't need that much additional traction at your location. Probably just gonna not spend a lot of money and just put that in Google search. But if you're doing lease ups, if you have a lot more exposure, if you need a lot more renters, then we're going to kind of cast that net a little wider and go with a lot more channels, whether that be, your socials with your Facebook and Instagram. If we're gonna dive deeper into the Google ecosystem with display and remarketing, are we gonna look at Bing, which while not a lot of people go to bing.com, there's several search engines that actually use Bing as their background, which do pull through the Bing marketplace, kind of like Yahoo. So some of those you can get some great traction depending on exactly where you are and what you need. So that is where kind of the person comes in, the strategies that our team really devotes. Nice thing is this is purely a self-storage digital strategy team. They're not out there doing restaurants or boutique clothing stores. Are just focused on self-storage. So that's what they know. They do that day in and day out.
Yeah, that's huge. The combination of the people strategists and the automation tools here are where stuff gets really powerful. And also, I think it's worth pointing out seeing those partnerships at the bottom too, just with G5's history here too, being a premier Google partner and closely piped in with Facebook and Microsoft too. We've got a lot of experience in this realm.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, when Google talks to us, this technology we're talking about today, they say is top in the industry, not just self-storage industry, but across all the industries. Google obviously handles them all that they've seen. People just haven't done this kind of complex engineering, which getting that feedback from Google is really paying off for us. So again, more of the channels we can do. And the thing is, this always updates and changes. Like a couple of years ago, display marketing really didn't work for self-storage. But Google actually changed how their algorithms worked about a year ago. And now we're starting to see a lot more payoff. So we're able to put more dollars there and see good results for that. But doing Facebook, Instagram, whether that's desktop mobile, your search ads, those are all important places to play, depending on the budgets you have and what your needs are. But once we have all those strategies um, set up, there's some additional things we can do. We have a lot of integration. So you integrate with your PMS or integrated with Google, and we can really leverage a lot of that data that comes from those integrations. One thing we can do is called dynamic ads. So we can push the price that is we get from your property management system feed right into your ad. So if you are a price leader in your area, this can be very powerful. People will know right away that, hey, that's the price, and they can use that. Even if you're not a price leader, what this can do is actually have people self-qualify. So let's say they only want to spend 25, or they know can't spend more than $25 a month on storage. They're not going to click this ad. Because remember, every ad that gets clicked on, that's when you pay. So somebody comes in and boom, you don't pay for that ad. Also, when you go through and you, if you don't have that, maybe somebody calls your front staff and starts asking about pricing. Well, this eliminates that as well. So you're not tying up your front office staff. Again, more efficiencies here, and that's really what we're driving to do.
Yeah, definitely. One of the themes you'll hear with G5 Smart DA is that we find ultimately the right renter at precisely the right time. And a lot of that all boils down to some of the stuff that Bill is showing us here too, in terms of how we do that. It's just not the exact opposite of kind of guessing where those renters are and how we can advertise to them.
Yeah, that's a great segue, Chris, going into our cross-channel spend optimizer. So as we were talking about earlier, people are at a lot of different places looking at a lot of different things. So how do we really know where we should put those dollars in each of these channels every day? This cross-channel spend optimizer is a kind of a new amazing tool that we really leverage all those data that we have in our data warehouse. We're looking over millions and millions of data points to really see what kind of effects there are when you have advertising in different channels. Because we know Google search advertising is pretty powerful, right? Somebody clicks, they go right to your website and they call, and that's fantastic. But what if that happened because somebody saw a ad on Facebook earlier? So they saw an ad on Facebook earlier, and they searched for storage later on, and they remembered seeing that ad that was in their mind, and they clicked on that ad. So we're able to start putting that across, and that's called multi-touch attribution, because you have impressions, you have clicks, you have phone calls, you have all these things that go on in that buyer's journey. Being able to predict where the people are and put money into that is important. So what the cross-channel spend optimizer does is every day it'll pull back all the performance out of each of the channels. It'll see that, it will see if that was what was predicted by its multi-touch attribution model. It'll let it do an adjustment for the next day, and then it pushes that bad data back into its algorithm to become smarter. And so that way we can really push the boundaries of these efficiency plays by putting those dollars in the right buckets. And when we do that, we see we're getting 25% higher conversions and a 15% reduction in cost per click at the same budget, without changing anything else, just using this cross-channel spending optimizer versus not. And remember, we were the best in the industry even before we had this. So we're seeing some amazing gains when we layer in this additional technology. So the next thing we do, so that was, we were just talking about what we do at a daily level. Now we're going to talk about what we do at a real-time level. So somebody pulls up Google, they search for self-storage near me. Now we have to do the game. Do we want to put an ad in front of this person that's searching on that? Well, there's a lot of things we can do. And the most important things we do is we actually push information back to Google. So as I were talking before with all these integrations, we have our technology that allows us to um, get information from phone calls. I'll talk about that in a second. We have all the information coming from your property management system. So we know when somebody calls in, and we can push that back to Google and say, hey, they didn't just click on that ad, they called. We can also say, hey, they didn't just click on that ad, they didn't just call, but we had a lease that we pulled back from the property management system. All that data gets pushed back into Google, and we say, hey, Google, we want people like this. We want to show those ads to those people. So what we'll do is when we see kind of what we call a lookalike audience, people that are just like that, that have leased with you or have called, then we'll say, yes, we want to bid, and we'll even bid a little more for those people because it's worth a lot more because we know that they're going to call. People who don't have this technology, they can only optimize on clicks. So they know somebody clicked on an ad, but was that good? Did they actually call? Did they actually lease? They don't know. So we have these deeper levels of conversion where we can really go down and say, okay, this person raised their hand, they're very interested, they're really a qualified lead. And we'll start bidding more on those people and bidding less on the audiences that aren't doing that, which again improves our optimization. Now this all comes back to the data we get. And so how do we do that? We have a system we call Lead Insights. So Lead Insights is a system where on your website, when anybody uses our digital advertising, or if you're using a G5 website from MiniSource, what we'll do is put up a unique phone number for that individual. So it's not just one phone number for digital advertising or a specific channel. Everybody gets their own phone number. That allows us to track that user all the way back and say, hey, this user came to us using this campaign. They even use these keywords to get to us. And then when they called, we can tie that together and say, hey, this is the kind of people that we want. Going down the line, we even have some call scoring technology, which allows us to see truly if that call was an actual sales call or not. And that can get layered in as well on top of this, which is just fantastic. So again, all of this data then gets pushed back into Google to make those kind of bidding time adjustments even more powerful.
And this is a great way to show it full circle too, in the way that that data is surfaced again in one of the other platforms we looked at in another episode here on G5 Analytics too. So again, tying the tools together and showing how they promote each other.
Yeah, again, great segue, Chris. That is important because we want to definitely kind of do what we say and say what we do, and we kind of back that up with giving you all the reporting that our team uses. So real time, you can jump in this. There is another video on G5 Analytics if you want to look at that, or call us up for a full demo. We can go deep into this to show you, all the keywords that are getting used, the advertising performance, what channels are getting spent on, all comes through our G5 Analytics system. Now, as we talked about earlier, having these partnerships, premier partnerships with Google, the preferred marketing partner of Facebook, really gives us insights into all their kind of top programs. Whenever they have new features that roll out, we're way early in the beta test cycles, so we can see, are these going to be something that are going to affect our self-storage clients? Are these going to be good tools? Sometimes, yes, definitely, like Smart Bidding, a great tool we're using all over the place. Sometimes some of their tools are for e-commerce sites selling widgets. It doesn't work for us, but we're your extension of your digital marketing team. We're there to help you with these, our ear right into Google and Facebook, making sure we're tweaking everything for your business to make sure we're the most optimized we can be. So looking at the data, G5 gives you 2.5 times more conversions for the same spend as the industry average. We really do a good job with that. Just remember, always clicks cost money. So we're going to try to give you only the clicks for people that are going to rent from you. Now, it's a lot of data. There's a lot of technology layered in here, but just know that it all works together. And if you want to call us and have a kind of a one-on-one demo where we can walk through these in more depth and give more detail about specifically for your business, we'd love to do that. So please give us a call.
That's right. And thanks, Bill. We appreciate everybody's time checking out this series on G5 Smart Digital Advertising. And again, we'd love to hear from you too. So as Bill said, come up with those questions too. Let us know thoughts, how this could impact your business too. And we'd love to talk more. So thanks again, and check out the rest of the series too for more glimpse into our tech demo series where we give you guys a deep dive into G5 products.